Hello and welcome back to Walk the Cinema podcast. In today's Oscar coverage, we're going to be talking about Top Gun Maverick.
Yeah, this is a sequel to
so
Top Gun.
let's talk about Top Gun because we're never going to make an episode on Top Gun because that movie's ass. I hate it.
I want to be respectful to those that do like it, so I'm not going to trash it, but I think that we both were baffled and confused by why Top Gun is so beloved.
But we watched this with a lot of people from a lot of age ranges. I'm talking like someone in their 80s, a couple of people in their 50s.
And then us in our, 20s.
Everyone was having an awful time.
Yeah. Like falling asleep awful time.
Like, so I think someone at some point was like, can we turn this off? Or like, do we actually have to finish this or something? Because it was so just boring, repetitive. The music was so repetitive and annoying.
Yeah. And to be fair, I think that, it does have some really cool shots of some airplanes. And, that probably was never done before, in that high of a quality.
Okay, but in the 20s,
right?
If we're going back to Oscar history, Wings had actual plane footage, and that's why it won Best Picture. Mm-hmm. Do you like Wings? Are you watching Wings? Who's watching Wings because of the airplane? I don't know if you're watching Top Gun because the airplanes go zoom, right?
I think also Top Gun was like really sexy back in the day too.
Oh God.
Because I think
the gay energy.
Well, no, I'm talking about the actual romance in it, where I don't know. I've heard stories of my parents' age talking about seeing that scene for the first time and just being blown away.
Right, in high school.
Stevie,
right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I did hear someone in their late 40s say that. Mm-hmm. Their favorite movie in high school was this.
Yeah.
Which I guess makes some sense. Maybe. But it wasn't because of the airplanes, so it doesn't...
Yeah.
Okay.
Back into the actual movie.
Yeah, moving on. Top Gun Maverick, I think just in comparison makes this look like an amazing movie.
Yeah, 100%. This one's so much better.
It actually functions as a movie.
Mm-hmm.
It looks good. It sounds good. It sounds so much better than the first one. Mm-hmm. It doesn't repeat the same shitty pop song 50 times.
That was the other thing. I really don't like the music in Top Gun, so
right.
That also kind of hurts.
This still has a romance. I think it's dialed down. It's still 100%. Really shitty.
Right.
I don't care for the romance. There should not be any romance.
It's just a little boring. And it doesn't... I feel like it really serves no purpose.
Right.
Zero purpose at all.
It kind of just... In the first one, it serves more of a purpose, if anything. Yeah. But this movie...
We return. We see Top Gun Maverick.
We return to the Top Gun school.
We have Maverick. He's here's my problem with it. A little bit. We're going to get into it a little bit. Maverick is still kind of the same person that he was in the first movie, even though we had seen his growth. He still doesn't take orders. He still kind of puts people in danger a little bit. He's a little bit better because he's older, but he still, on his assignments puts himself and others at risk, So he really hasn't learned anything.
And I think besides that, Maverick is just Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
Is it a character? Kinda, but it's still just Tom Cruise. I just see Tom Cruise. I just see a little man.
Right.
That wants to fly an airplane and ride his bike with his cool leather thingy.
Yeah. But
whatever.
This Top Gun Maverick actually has stakes to the movie, where I feel like Top Gun doesn't. Because in Top Gun, they're only doing this little training thing. They're going through training school, which, has its high stakes because, someone dies, Goose dies.
Yeah, and someone has to win the Top Gun award or whatever they call it.
But beyond that, it's kind of at the end, there is a mission, but, it's not really... they're not really working towards doing anything with that mission. They're just kind of
Yeah, with this one is a whole Star Wars type plan.
Yeah.
It is kind of built like a Star Wars movie.
A little.
And the action sequence that's like the last 30 minutes, it reminds me of a Star Wars movie, straight up. But it's actually fun, and I don't care for Star Wars too much. But that one was like legitimately fun. It was a good sequence.
Yeah.
And I probably would have given this movie a negative rating if it wasn't for the action sequence at the end. Which, again, it went on for too long with the fake outs.
Right.
Because Tom Cruise almost died, and then he did it, and whatever.
And then Goose's son...
saves him.
Which is...
It's fine.
Yeah.
But if it wasn't for, like, the actual plane sequences at the end, where you feel like there was actual stakes and you didn't know what was going to happen, if it wasn't for that, this movie would get a negative rating for me. I know a lot of people love this movie, and it made a crap ton of money.
It did.
Which is insane, because we watched all the trailers before it came out, and I could not see this making money.
Well, the trailers just kind of made it a little bit goofy, where you have, John Hamm being like, the only reason you're here is because Tom Kaczynski, aka Iceman.
Yeah, that's not how people talk.
Like, told us, like, vouched for you again.
AKA Iceman, and I would lose my crap every time.
Yeah.
Because that's not a sentence.
Yeah.
Because I know, like, we know as a crowd who you're talking about. Tom Cruise definitely knows who you're talking about. That was his lover back in the day.
Right. I don't know. It's just, it is nitpicky, but it is, something that bothered me. I don't think they actually say that in the movie. I think I only remember
I don't know if they
that.
cut it from the movie. I didn't notice it.
I didn't notice it in the movie, but like in the trailers, definitely. But it's kind of this movie is kind of Top Gun, but kind of in reverse, where the evil character, I guess, none of them are evil, but our kind of antagonist guy, played by Glenn Powell.
Yeah, he's terrible.
Is Hangman. He's Hangman. He's literally Tom Cruise. He's literally Maverick in the first movie.
Right.
But now they're trying to be like, okay, well, Maverick's the bad character and the kind of the goody two shoes character, which is Rooster.
Because he's old and they make fun of him.
Yeah.
Gosh.
But Rooster is Goose's son.
Right, obviously.
And he's kind of, not necessarily play it by the book, but he is a little bit more like Iceman is in the first movie.
He's also like silent. He has a grudge.
Yeah, because
which he totally should. Because Maverick totally killed his dad.
Yeah, 100%. Like we've already determined that we 100% think it was his fault that Goose died. That he's really the villain of that story. Like, there's no doubt in my mind that Iceman deserved the top spot at Top Gun because he's better in every way. He doesn't put people at risk. He's a great flyer. Like, he may not be the best flyer because obviously Maverick has to be because he's the main character, but he's so rash and illogical that it's kind of like, that's not how things work.
No.
So.
Okay, besides the flawed characters and honestly, they're kind of just so poorly written. This got a screenplay nomination, which is nuts to me. Because this is not well written. If you're going to watch this, it's because it's a big summer blockbuster with a lot of stunts and a lot of action and loud music. And it does all that right. As a summer blockbuster, this is pretty okay.
No, yeah, and I think that we both agreed that we did not have a terrible time watching this.
As a blockbuster, this is probably as good as it's going to get because I'm just not into it. Like, this type of movie just doesn't work for me.
We're not plain people,
It's not plain. It's, like, legitimately just blockbusters in general. Like, I don't care for Avatar, but there's people crying in theaters.
Yeah.
Telling us, you gotta go watch this because we cried so much. I was like, oh, I'll watch it if it gets a Best Picture nomination. And then I watch it, and it's bland. And this is bland. But
it's less bland. So it's,
honestly, the action scene at the end, like the mission that they're working towards, when it actually happens, I become a red-blooded American cheering for him.
That's so true. But that's another thing where I know they're doing it on purpose, but they kind of purposefully keep the enemy vague.
Right. They're not going to tell, it's the Afghani or the Russian, because this movie's super political, and there's people that don't think it is at all. It's very much a right-wing movie. Mm. And a lot of people hate it because they think it's propaganda. It's army propaganda. They want you to join the Marines. They want you to join the Air Force.
The Navy.
And it's also, like, just super democratic. Which, it's political in its statement, but I don't think it's, like, in your face. I don't think it's super annoying with it. But sometimes, around the time that this trailer was, like, playing on YouTube, and you'd get it before you watch a video.
Yeah. Sometimes
I would get this trailer, sometimes I would get, like, join the Navy. And I wouldn't know the difference because they kind of look the same. Yeah. So I guess it works in that way.
Yeah.
But it does not make me want to join the Air Force at all.
But I do know several people that it kind of does make them want to fly planes and like...
I think there's a lot more movies that do that more. Because this is not anti-war at all.
No.
And I think part of why that kind of works is because they don't aim at an enemy. Yeah. So them killing people doesn't matter because you don't know who they are.
It's just like a faceless...
Yeah, it's like the
villain.
It's like the villains of G.I. Joe.
Yeah.
You don't know who they are, so they can die.
Yeah, there's no like...
Which is not a good thing.
There's no like
that's not how you should think in real life, but... I think this movie only works because it doesn't have a villain that's laid out. Mm-hmm. I mean, there's villains, or there's the enemy.
There's the enemy, and then there's, like, the villains of the story.
Yeah,
like,
but the enemy not having a true name or a true face, I think, is the only reason this almost kind of works.
Yeah.
As a fun movie. If it was, like, about a current war, I probably would be even less into it.
See, I think this movie just also kind of highlights things I don't like about sequels that take forever to...
It did take forever.
Like, come out, you know? Because, like, this came out in the 80s.
Yeah, it did take forever.
Top Gun came out in the 80s.
That's why it's so surprising how much money it made. Because it took so long to make. And I don't even know if it was in production for long.
Yeah,
or if they one day they're just like, let's put this out. But it took so long. It took literally so many decades.
And
of no hype either. It's not like people were like, oh, let's go watch Top Gun. Maybe they were, I don't know. I don't think so, though.
I don't think there was much hype until it actually, like, the trailer started.
But then it made so much money.
Yeah.
Which is insane. And I'm not saying it got Best Picture nomination because it made money, but that's the reason it got Best Picture nomination.
I don't know, but, like, I had this problem with Avatar, like I said it. Avatar, Way of the Water, The Way of the Water, The Way of Water.
The Way of Water.
You know? And I had the same type of thing with Star Wars Force Awakens, where it just feels like the first movie rehashed. Which like this one doesn't necessarily have all the same beats, but it has basically all the same characters, where Rooster is Goose, Maverick is Maverick, Hangman is Iceman.
If anything, this movie might have done most things better than the first one, but if anything, the character's even more flat in this.
Yeah, a little bit.
Except maybe for Miles Turner, because he actually has a grudge. And it feels like it's a more realistic reason to hate
Miles
Maverick.
Teller. Yeah.
Miles Teller.
Yeah.
Whatever. People really like him now for some reason. I thought he was canceled for a while.
I thought he was also canceled for a little while, but I don't know. I haven't kept up with him.
He's fine. I actually do buy him as having a grudge.
Yeah.
He's probably the only good actor in this.
Maybe.
Because I like some Tom Cruise movies.
Yeah.
But he's not a good actor. Not like necessarily,
not necessarily.
Like... Which some people say has got snubbed for Best Actor. Get real. If anything, this movie got too many nominations, and I still don't understand how it got a Best Picture. Because to get a Best Picture, it doesn't matter if it's good or not, or if you like it. It matters the hype it's getting within the voters.
Yeah.
And it matters how recent it is in voters' heads. And it matters how much the voters actually want to watch a movie. And I feel like it's so crazy to me that this is something that so many people in the arts cared about, because this is not a movie for the people in the arts.
Yeah.
This is a movie for big crowds, and it worked as a movie for big crowds. A lot of people watched it. I gave it like a 6 out of 10, I think, because mostly the action scene towards the end worked really well for me.
I also gave it a 6 out of 10, but because I had an okay time, you know?
But like 6 out of 10, I wouldn't nominate this for Best Picture.
I also thought it was kind of funny that like Val Kilmer is in it, but he has like 2 lines of dialogue because they just made his character have throat cancer.
And it makes no sense that his character is in it. Like, it doesn't need to be in it. I guess it's so they can say Val Kilmer's in it.
Yeah. But then they kill him.
Or so they could say, oh, AKA Iceman has asked us to put you in this.
Yeah. Because
he himself can't do it because he's dying.
Yeah.
So it kind of overbloats that part of the plot.
It's like, we wanted Iceman, but he's dying of throat cancer, so...
Yeah. This movie's fun. I don't think there's a lot to talk about the movie. That's the thing. It's technically well put together. Like, this got a nomination for editing.
Which is, I feel like,
obviously, and it's probably going to win. It got visual effects.
Again, I feel like that's pretty basic. Best sound.
Yeah, and it got sound, which is like 3 categories.
The trifecta.
I can agree that it's technically well put together. It's a lot better than the first one in those aspects. It's a lot more interesting than the first one. It still shouldn't have gotten best screenplay, which it did.
Yeah. I don't know. I think that, like, if it was going to get a writing, I don't know. It makes sense a little bit to me in my head that they would do that, but I don't think that there's anything particularly fantastic about the writing. It just seems kind of a basic.
No, I would say it's not that it's bad. It sets out to do what it does. It does a action film that honestly to me doesn't feel super substantial or consequential.
Yeah.
Like, I get that they could die, but I know most of them are not, so I don't really care too much for the consequences of anything. Yeah. But getting adapted screenplay, especially this year, I feel like it's such a big stretch.
Yeah, I agree. It also got Best Original Song for Hold My Hand by Lady Gaga.
Plays right at the end.
It plays right at the end.
I mean, it's better than the songs in the first Top Gun.
Right, but I just remember thinking, immediately as that song played, I was like, this is purely for the Oscar.
Yeah. Like, who's a big name we can get that could just sing at the end?
And I don't like the song. I find it very annoying.
But I never liked the songs nominated. But I think the Oscars really want Lady Gaga to perform.
Yeah.
And the people that hired her knew that.
Yep.
And it's an easy nomination.
But I like the song that plays when they're all playing a little, instead of, playing
football.
Instead of playing volleyball, like how in Top Gun it was, beach volleyball. It's now beach, like, touch football.
Yeah, which is kind of a worthless scene. Same with the volleyball.
Yeah, it's just,
it's nothing. It's a filler.
But that song has, like, the little One Republic song.
Right.
Where it's like, it's just a summer song.
I don't even have an opinion on the original song nominations, but this...
I don't like it. I didn't like it.
This also got Best Picture, which again is insane to me. I don't mind it. Again, as a summer blockbuster, or just a blockbuster in general, I think this is much better than Avatar. It actually felt something. I'm not even joking when I say when the planes start going fast and there was missiles, I turned into a red-blooded American.
Yeah.
For 30 minutes. And that's more than Avatar could have done for me. And that's more than any other blockbuster this year. I don't even remember. Black Panther came out.
Well, Wakanda Forever. Did the multiverse Doctor Strange come out?
Perhaps.
I don't know.
Like, if I'm going to pick a blockbuster to watch, it would 9 out of 10 times be this. So... cheers for that, I guess, but it's still not a Best Picture material. Some people are going to disagree. I know a lot of people love this. Like, legitimately think this is great. Like, an all-time great action movie. Yeah.
Just a fun fact about this movie. The Georgia Film Critics Association Awards, which is, where we live. We live in Georgia, the state.
Stop giving out our location.
This won Best Cinematography and Best Original Song, so this did not get a cinematography nom in the Oscars, but maybe it will predict.
It should have, if anything. I would trade that for adapted screenplay.
Maybe, but maybe the Georgia Film Critics Association Awards will predict what won the Best Original Song. I feel like that's probably
I have no idea.
It might have the highest chance. I really don't know. We'll get more into it in our final episode of this season, but I guess maybe to try to end on a positive note.
Well, we both gave it positive ratings.
Yeah, it's a positive rating.
It's kind of like a rating that appeases everyone because it's a 6. So it's not too positive, but it's definitely not negative. So it's kind of a cop-out rating, but it's the true rating, I feel. Yeah. If anything, it would be a 5. It would definitely not be a 7.
I definitely reached out to a friend of mine that does really like Top Gun, just to kind of get her opinion on it, because like I said, it's not me being mean when I say that the original Top Gun bored me to tears. So I asked, like, what about it is it? And I think it is just kind of the spectacle of the planes and, like, the training sequences and just, the allure of being the best at flying, which is kind of like I don't know. It's like breaking the laws of what God intended humans to do.
There was in the 80s also a Tom Cruise movie that was kind of trying to make money off of Top Gun by doing, instead of flying fast, was driving fast. It was Years of Thunder, which also has one of the worst scores out there. We once listened to that score and it was a big mistake.
Yeah.
So there's always going to be the fastest thing movies. And they're going to do okay. Clearly. But this one I think just technically is super well done.
Yeah.
And that's the best aspect of it. And I think a lot of movies just can't battle with that. But yeah, the airplanes go fast.
Yeah, I feel like that's pretty much all we can really say about it, though. We don't really like this movie that much.
Yeah, but I don't hate it.
No. Would I watch it again?
No.
Probably not.
I would hope not.
It's just one of those things where I feel like there's a lot of other
I feel like if I watch it again, my rating is definitely going down, because I don't think I will gain appreciation with time for this.
Yeah, for sure. And it does feel like a weird Oscar nomination, but here it is. We covered it, and there are a lot of people that love it, so good on them.
Well, they can watch it as many times as they want on Peacock.
Yeah.
Or whatever streaming service it's on.
Yeah. But I think that is all that we have for this episode. So don't forget to like, subscribe, leave us a comment if you want to, and we will see you next time.